In today's video, I'm going to dive into supplies for home birth. Now these are just ones that I personally am using. We are currently preparing for home birth number 2. So I'm going to go over some things that we used the first time, some things that we're possibly adding the second time, but just kind of reviewing what was really helpful, what was really useful. And if anytime during this video I sound like I'm out of breath, that is because I am almost 39 weeks right now, so I am running out of airspace, and filming long form videos is just getting more challenging, you know, to do those long conversations. So bear with me. When it comes to home birth, you're going to have pretty standard things that most people are going to want to have on hand, you know, regardless of how you plan to do your birth, where you plan to do it at home. If you plan to get it in the pool, you plan to get it in the tub, you plan to be on the bed, you know, whatever it is that you're so choosing to do, you kind of want to have all these things handy somewhere just in case. One of them is rags. Very simple, I know, but you want lots and lots of just very plain, clean, washed rags. And these can be for different things. One thing that I used it a lot for with our first birth is, and second thing that you might want are bowls. And your standard kitchen bowls, like your mixing bowl set, that can be a really good bowl set to have on hand. Last time I bought one just for home birth, and I'll be using that one again for this time. And the bowls can be used for different things, but one of them that's really helpful is a bowl of just ice cold water. And then you would dip the rag in it. And then when you are really in the heat of things, you know, especially once you get to transition and through that, you get, I know I did, I got really hot. So having the ability to have these rags that could just be dipped in that ice cold water, and then I could put it on my neck, I could put it on my face, I could put it on, you know, whatever I was feeling at the time. That was super helpful. Are we going to use all of these? Probably not, but it's nice to have more on hand than what you think you'll need. And anything we don't use, I'll just put to use, you know, another way around the house. Next, same concept, but more of like hand towel size. This one, again, it's just going to get used for various things. And it could be the midwives that might use it for different things. It could be you that might use it for different things. But I like to have, what do I have? Probably 6 of them that I'm going to have on deck. We probably won't use them all. And like I said, they're just washed, they're clean, they're prepped, and they are available and handy so that if we need them for any various reasons, I've got them here. Then, still on the same theme, towels. And you want to find, I actually had my mom give me these too. I had her dig out 2 old towels that, you know, she's had forever, because, you know, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to use at least 1 towel, if not 2, or a couple more, and you don't want them to be your nicest towels. I mean, if that's your style, that's fine. But I like to lean into, you know, something that I'm okay with it getting ruined if it does get ruined. And again, you just want to wash them. You want to make sure that they're clean and just have a good handful of them on deck. I don't have them in here, but I've got like 4 others that I'm going to add to this also. And those ones are just ones that are really small for actually using as a shower towel. So I won't be sad if we don't have those anymore. So we've got the rags, the hand towels, and the bath towels. Those things are all super useful. You also want to have some receiving blankets. And a lot of times they'll have these in like packs of 6 online. I'm using the ones that we still have from my daughter's birth. So they're very girly, even though we're having a boy. But like I said, we didn't use them all, and I'm not going to buy a whole new set just so it's a boy set when I already have these. So this is something that I've been able to just bring over from home birth number 1, and we're going to use it for home birth number 2. I think I'll be okay with 2 of them, and then I think I have 1 other one still also. So you want to have a couple blankets on hand, the receiving blankets, and then a couple baby blankets also. And a lot of these aren't going to be like the nicest blanket you have on hand. These are ones that if they happen to get messy, you know, you can wash them, you can clean them, and everything will be fine. But don't, you know, you don't want to have that handmade blanket that your mom made as one in the stack for this like very initial like first day of birth. This is more things that are, you know, really soft, really clean, really great for baby, but that you're also okay with potentially getting stained. So we have the receiving blankets. So next, so the room I'm in right now, this is a spare bedroom for us. And normally I wouldn't have these super dark curtains. I like natural light. I like everything to be really open, really airy. But when it comes to birth, and I've made a full video on this about really setting the scene for your birth. And one thing that I really enjoy is low lighting. And with our first home birth, my daughter was born at noon, and noon is not low lighting. So I loved having the ability to close the curtains, and they were blackout curtains so that I had help at that point, but we were able to control the amount of light that came in the room, and that helped put me at ease. And I even go back at pictures and I look at them and you would think it's almost nighttime, but it's not. It's literally the middle of the day. And it's nice to have, you know, the option to have control over that. I got the hiccups. I can always pull these wide open. You know what I mean? If in the moment I'm feeling the daylight, I want the full light, I have that opportunity. But for now, I want the blackout curtains. And I don't know if you can see, let me adjust it for a minute. I have these icicle lights. This is so if it happens to be the middle of the night when it's pitch black, the overhead light in this bedroom is very, very bright. And that's not ideal for me. And we have 3 different rooms that we make available for potentially home birthing in. I kind of set them all up. One's a bathroom, one's a bedroom, and one's just an open space where we can put the birth pool if I want to get in the birth pool. So I set all 3 of them up this way to where it could be pitch black if it's too much light, or it could be low lighting, like icicle lights, if it's super dark and I need some light, but I don't want like a blaring overhead light. So those are also things that I consider very important for home birth prep, is like you want to be in your element, in your mood, and, you know, very much in your space. So next, in terms of supplies, I pulled out birth cloths, different, I have a ton of these from our first pregnancy. So just a lot of your basic cloths so that I have them already on hand. I have them set up in other areas of the house too, once, you know, we're kind of in that full, you know, couple days postpartum, newborn, you know, just living life stage. But this is some just for like right initially, if I need them. I wanted them mixed in with everything else so they're easy to find. You also want to have a couple outfits on hand. You know, what is the first outfit you want to put on your baby? What is, you know, a couple others that you might want to have around? I wouldn't recommend your very nicest outfit for the first one. You know, a lot of times, you know, for us, for home birth, we chose to really hold off on washing baby for a good little while. And, you know, you just don't want to put them in their nicest outfit right off the bat. I would recommend something, you know, a little bit darker, something that it could get, you know, a little bit dirty, but then you can wash it and reuse it. And you still want them to be cute, but you kind of got to keep in mind that they literally just came out. They're very fresh. But I have a couple outfits on hand. Also, this one, I wore this one after our last birth, but you want something that you can open. So this is like a button down, and it's like an oversized, super comfortable, it's almost like a nightie. And I wore this immediately after our first birth, you know, once we kind of got situated, once we got kind of, you know, very comfortable and we were ready to lay low and just cuddle and sleep and breastfeed and, you know, recoup. this is what I put on, and it was so fabulous. So you really want to think about, what do you want your first outfit to be also, not just baby's first outfit. And ideally you don't want like constricting. You don't necessarily want, you can pull off a t-shirt, like you can totally make anything work, but I would lean into comfort. I would lean into just the bare minimum and what helps you have, the most ease with feeding a brand new baby, with snuggling, with sleeping. So just think about it. Like I said, this one, I wore it last time and I'm wearing it again this time. I have a picture of my daughter and I, when she was less than 24 hours old, of me holding her while I was wearing this. So I'm hoping to get a picture like that with my son too. So that's in the pile. That's not what I'm gonna wear while I'm giving birth. With that, you gotta kind of think about what makes the most sense for you. My biggest thing is layers, because at the beginning of birth, you kind of want more layers on when you're still being active, you're still walking around your house, you might still be going through some stretches, going through some movements. So you want comfortable and movable, but you want things that you can kind of peel off as you go, because the more you get closer to actual birth, you're going to want next to nothing on. Now, that being said, I do prioritize like a nice bra top. I won't even say nice, just something that like is semi-comfortable. Don't be putting something on that's like miserable to wear. But that because I like having pictures during birth. And if you don't have like a comfortable bra on or something, to cover the top half, your pictures are going to be really fun. But go with what makes you the most comfortable. For me, I know there's going to be a handful of people in the room. I know that they're going to be taking some photos, and I like to have those photos for like scrapbooks later, and so I try and keep something covering the top half if I can, but you're not going to want anything on your belly. I know I didn't want anything touching my belly while I was actually giving birth. So just be mindful of that. And like I said, as you progress through labor, you can just kind of peel layers off and slowly get to less and less. I know a lot of people like really thin robes. That way you can kind of keep the robe on until you're really feeling the heat of the moment, and then you could take it off if you wanted to. Next, in terms of preparation, so after giving birth and after delivering the placenta, you're going to have a lot of bleeding, and that's a whole different topic, but you want to have ways to contain it. And with my first pregnancy, I really leaned into the postpartum diapers, and I highly recommend them. And I know it's hard to imagine wearing an adult diaper. It's not appealing. It's not the most flattering, but oh my goodness, it was like the best thing in the world. It was so comfortable, and I never had to worry. The protection was just so different than just a liner, because you're laying in bed the majority of the time that first week, first 2 weeks, and you really want to contain any kind of mess on your nice stuff, and some of the liners, some of the pads, they just kind of have limitations. It just depends. But I really enjoyed the diapers. My husband used to joke that he thought I was going to wear them forever, and they were just really nice for peace of mind. I didn't have to worry about making a mess through, onto my pants when we had some company over. I didn't have to worry about where I was sitting. It just gave me a lot of peace of mind. So I would at least consider it for those first couple days. And then you can kind of gauge where you want to go from there. After the full-blown diapers, because I fully intend to wear them again, love them, I'm going to switch to, this time I grabbed like an overnight version of a panty liner. Normally I don't do something this intense, but like I said, I'm trying to really contain my bed, my sheets, my clothing. I want everything to stay really nice those first 2 weeks, and I just don't know what to expect. You don't know what your healing's going to be like. It could be, if you've had other births before, it could be just like those, or it could be totally different. So I like to kind of over plan. So I actually have I have like an overnight version that I have, and then I have more of a regular version that I plan on graduating to, and then I have a very thin version, like a panty liner that, you know, down the road I plan to move towards. So I've kind of got that whole progression from diaper all the way down just on hand. Highly recommend leaning into organic cotton. I'm not going to get into it a lot in this video, but when we're in that, you know, really intense, you know, healing phase, I think it's so important to prioritize what is coming in contact, because postpartum, our hormones are already going through this wild roller coaster of, oh my goodness, I just had a baby. And you just don't want to put anything, you know, in that sensitive area that could also impact not only the healing itself, but that hormonal ride and your emotions, and, you know, that all plays together. So that's just something that I really prioritize. I do that all the time. I like to always buy organic cotton pads or liners anytime through any season of life, but this one is so extra important. So I highly recommend, you know, at least considering it. They also have underwear, like organic cotton underwear that you can buy that's reusable. It has built-in liners. I haven't used those personally, but I've heard great things. Those are another thing you can consider. Next, in terms of supplies, we have, so if you're going to give birth on your bed, or even labor on your bed, you know, your water may break, you might go through different stages early on. What you do with home birth is you make the bed fully, and then on top of your fully made bed, you put a waterproof cover. Now you can buy a waterproof mattress cover. They're usually like 20 bucks. It kind of depends. You can also use a shower curtain, like the liner part, the like really waterproof part. Those are substantially cheaper than a mattress cover. Or this is one that my midwife recommended. I used a mattress cover the first time. This time we are using, it's like a vinyl tablecloth, and she says to put it, now I gotta ask her again. I think you put the fuzzy side up, and then on top of that, you're making the bed again. But for the top part, you're probably just gonna put a fitted sheet and then some pillows. You're not like full-blown making a bed. But that way you can lay on your bed, you can labor on your bed, you can fully give birth on your bed if you want. And if it happens to make a mess, which birth is messy, then all they have to do is, as soon as, you know, everything's done and wrapped up, they just peel that top layer off, including that waterproof cover, and they're able to contain all of that. And then you already have a fully made bed that's clean and ready to go that you can now crawl into with your baby. So it makes it a really nice transition. So I actually have one for the bed, and then I also have a second one. The second one I'm gonna put in the other room underneath the birth pool. That way, just in case, we didn't have like any mess from the birth pool from the first time, but you still wanna have some sort of liner down. Just, you know, I like to have something down just in case water gets on the floor. For the most part, I'm really not worried about it, but that one's just more peace of mind, just to have it underneath of it. So I do have two of those, and I found these for like $5. So they were very cost efficient. Another thing we have, peri bottle. You're gonna want that post-birth. It's gonna help, you know, when you go to the bathroom, it's gonna help you shower, it's gonna help with all the things. I also like to, and I'll link this down below, exactly which one I buy. I like a herbal, like an herbal soak. Now this one, my midwife will make it into like a tea, you know, after baby, and prepare it for me so that I have it in the peri bottle, so that when I use the bathroom those first initial couple times, that I can apply this directly with the peri bottle. But then I'll also do my first bath in this, And with my daughter, I had her down into the bath with me. I think this was the next day we did it together. And you just do a full soak. You're not having the actual herbs in the bathtub with you. You do not want loose herbs floating around in the bathtub. So you're putting it in some sort of like a cloth that will allow it to dispense in your tub like a tea. So it's going to infuse your water, but no actual herbs will be floating in the water. You don't want loose things while you're in the bathtub immediately after giving birth. But it was just such a nice herbal bath that we did the day after. And these just promote healing. They promote health and wellness. It's soothing and it's bonding. And like I said, I like dipped her into the water with me. I had someone just hand her to me while I was down in there. Just like lightly rinsed her with it, let her soak in it for just a few moments, handed her back, and then finished it myself. You don't want to do these things by yourself. I highly recommend having help with everything. Those first couple days, you're just reeling from a lot of hard work. So have all the help you can find. Another one I'm going to keep on hand is sitz bath. That's again for postpartum. Just great to have on hand. Depending on how your birth goes, what your healing looks like, you want to have that easily accessible. I also keep sweet oil. I don't know if you can see it very well. This one I honestly didn't use the first time. You can use it for like perineal massage. I don't do a lot of that personally. Do your research, read up on it, figure out what works for you. But I have it, and I have it on hand just in case. What I'm adding this time is after ease. With each birth, so this will be my second birth, postpartum contractions or aches and pains can get a little bit more intense each time. I didn't have super intense ones after my first birth. I did have some every time I was breastfeeding the first, I want to say 3 days, and it ended up being a blood clot that I needed to pass. Highly recommend reading about postpartum blood clots because you want to know what to look for, what to expect, and to get an idea of what they look like in case you do pass one, because they can be pretty intense. Mine was probably, mine was like the size of a marble. And it just came out of me one day and I was like, what is that? So that is kind of what led me down that trail of reading about postpartum blood clots. So that was the only aches and pains I had the first time postpartum. This time, if I happen to have like those postpartum contraction feelings that they often talk about, I've heard great things about after ease, so I wanted it on hand. You don't want to wait until you get there to decide whether you need something. You know, if I end up not using it, it makes a great gift for another mom that is having a baby soon. So you won't waste it. Okay, I'm already at 24 minutes. All right, I'm going to speed through these last ones. So, more preparation. You want thermometer that reads very quickly. You don't want one that takes like 30 seconds because you're trying to take a temperature of a newborn baby. And, you know, if you're in the cold months, then that cold thermometer, they're going to be real upset with you. Or even in the warm months, you know, you're dealing with a brand new baby who isn't going to want something, you know, like shoved under their armpit. And so I do, this one reads in 8 seconds. We have another one downstairs. So now we have 2, and this one works great with underarm. And I found that to be really easy to do with my first baby. And then my midwife has certain things that she has prepped and ready. You know, you've got your basic syringe for sucking stuff. She has a full kit here for working with the umbilical cord. So this isn't stuff that I will mess with. This is all stuff my midwife will use, and she provided it for me. I think of this as just like a newborn package. So those are things that I already have here, already have at home. Also, these always make me think of puppy pads, but these are your basic under pads, and it doesn't matter what brand you use. These are the ones my midwife supplied for us through our plan. And the under pads, you're going to use quite a few of them. You know, when you're on the bed, if you're laboring there, they'll line underneath of you. When your water breaks, they'll have some under you. After giving birth, they're going to have some under you. They'll probably put some under baby. It's just like, these are kind of what they put everywhere to try and contain a lot of the chaos. And we have, I think, 30 on hand. We will not use 30, likely. But again, as with all of these things, you know, you want to have plenty on deck. Anything you don't use, it makes a great gift for another mom who's planning a home birth. Just pass it on, or, you know, you could even hold on to it if it's certain things that last a long time and save it for your next one. We have a pan that my midwife supplied, and that's what the placenta will go into. You can also use one of those mixing bowls that, you know, if you buy a set of like 3, you could have one mixing bowl for cold water, one mixing bowl for placenta, and the other mixing bowl for whatever might come up. It's great to have a good couple of them on hand. We also have quite a few bottles of hydrogen peroxide. I also keep bottles of, in this upstairs bathroom where we'll be doing everything. I also have all of my other just like basic first aid stuff. I think I have some bleach under there. We have isopropyl alcohol. We have cotton swabs. We have, you know, all your basic, I don't plan on leaning into any of that stuff. My midwife tends to bring everything she needs for cleaning, assessing, for umbilical cord, all the things. But it's just nice to have it on deck unless you need something for anything. You know, it's within grabbable reach. That is all in terms of things that you might want for a typical home birth. The other supplies you're going to want are if you plan on using a birth pool, which we have all the supplies for that, and I'll do a full video separately. But essentially you just need the pool itself. We like Birth Pool in a Box was the company that I used. And then you need a fresh liner each time you have a pregnancy. So I have a new liner for this birth. And I think of them like those goofy plastic crock pot liners that you can buy. It's the same concept. You're just lining the whole pool, so the pool itself doesn't actually come in contact with you at all, or the water. Only the liner does. That way, after you give birth, the liner is the only thing that is contaminated, and your pool itself is still sterile, which is nice. So we're using the same pool from our first birth for this one. You also need a water pump, and that is to help get water in the pool and out of the pool. You need a brand new water hose each time. You can't reuse the same hose. Like, we still had our hose from the first birth, but you drain all the dirty water back out of it, so you don't want to use that same hose to bring water in for a fresh new birth. So I bought a brand new hose that is lead free, and you just want to make sure it's long enough to reach from, likely your shower is what you're going to use to fill it up. You want it to reach from your shower all the way to your pool. And then you also need a air pump to blow your pool up. The pools are very big. You're not going to want to manually blow that up. You want an air pump, and then a attachment piece that allows you to hook the water hose up to the shower head. And that's something you can find really easily online. It's just like an adapter piece that allows a hose to connect to your shower. And that's kind of all you need for the birth pool. But those are basic birth supplies. I'm going to do a couple other videos focused on what I'm really focusing on postpartum, some postpartum meals, talking about the birth pool itself and whether or not I'm actually going to use it this time, because I'm on the fence. And just diving into more preparation. We're in that crunch time where, you know, baby can show up whenever he wants to show up. So I'm just trying to make sure everything is ready. So I hope this video was helpful. This isn't, you know, a set list. This is just things that were helpful for me, things that I used a lot last time. I forgot to mention a heating pad. I have a heating pad downstairs. That's another thing that you can have it on hand for various reasons. So I highly recommend having one. Most people already have one in their house, but if not, you may want to consider grabbing one. But those are my basic items. If I think of any others, I'll add it to the description. And thank you for being here for this video. And again, I hope it was helpful.